Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to the Krame Center for Mindful Living. Welcome back to those of you who are a regular part of our mindfulness community and meditation group. And a warm welcome to those of you who are new, who might be joining us for the first time. So just a little bit about us. We are a global nonprofit organization whose mission is to make the benefits of mindfulness, self-compassion, and positive psychology accessible to all. And our goal is to help people become more resilient and live better lives through our various programs. We offer affordable pricing and scholarships, as well as these free weekly meditations. And our theme for March and April, so this is our last week, our theme for March and April is Spring into Resilience. And this week's theme is Realizing Dreams. So today we will explore how realizing our dreams, our success, and our well-being is to a very large extent determined by our attitude, right? Our attitude toward ourselves, which is no doubt shaped by the thoughts and beliefs that we have about ourselves. So the stories that we tell ourselves and what we believe, in essence, shape our reality. And here I want to share with you an example of how beliefs can become self-fulfilling prophecies. And this dates back quite a ways. Until May 6, 1954, running the mile in under 4 minutes was considered impossible. And that 4 minutes was really the absolute limit in human ability. Scientists and doctors supported this belief and really were imposing their own psychological barriers and limitations, because along came runner Roger Bannister, who was not even the best in the field, but he set the goal to run the 4-minute mile. And he did. He accomplished it. Why? Because he believed that he could. And then interestingly, 6 weeks later, the record was beaten again. And then the next year, over 30 other runners beat the record, and soon hundreds beat the record, right? So now it's common to run a 4-minute mile. And it's really important to consider how our mind can either hold us back or enable us to realize our dreams. And this idea really ignited people's imagination, and it dawned on people that whatever your mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve. And Henry Ford was inspired, and he said, whether you think you can or you can't, you are right, right? So self-esteem is really another important part of this whole equation. And Nathaniel Branden, a very well-known psychologist and psychotherapist, studied the importance of self-esteem, and he illustrated how it is tied to our self-concept, which of course is determined through our beliefs and attitudes. And in his book, he writes that the level of our self-esteem has profound consequences for every aspect of our existence. How we operate in the workplace, how we deal with people, how high we are likely to rise, how much we are likely to achieve, and in the personal realm, with whom we are likely to fall in love, how we interact with our spouse, with our children and friends, and what level of personal happiness we attain. And Nathaniel Branden says, self-concept is destiny. And then self-esteem really affects our level of self-efficacy also, right? People with higher levels of self-esteem have a greater agency over their ability to self-govern. They believe in their abilities. They are more likely to realize goals, realize their dreams, and are more likely to persevere. They're more likely to pick themselves up after a failure and view setbacks as part of the process rather than catastrophizing them with a fatalistic view. And greater self-efficacy allows us to reframe how we view a setback, right? And see the lesson in it rather than just focusing on the negative of the situation. So it allows us to be more optimistic. So self-efficacy is really vital to realizing our goals and dreams, to success in general, to greater levels of happiness, and to living a more balanced life. And I have one last example I want to share with you. Just think of Thomas Edison, right? Arguably America's greatest inventor because he patented over 1,000 inventions. Edison failed 10,000 times before perfecting the incandescent electric light bulb. And he had this extraordinarily positive perception of life that really enhanced his ability as an inventor. And a journalist once told him to give up because he did over 10,000 failed experiments. And he answered back that he did not fail 10,000 times, but rather he showed what does not work 10,000 times. So his interpretation of these experiments really put a positive spin on what the journalist viewed as failure. And that is the reason for his success, right? And it's no coincidence that the most successful people are the ones who have failed the most, the people who persevere. And Tal Ben Shahar says, I love this quote, I know I've used it before, but learn to fail or we fail to learn. All right, so with that, I'm going to lead us now into the meditation. So making whatever adjustments to your posture that are necessary so that you're fully comfortable. And then if it feels right, closing your eyes or just softening your gaze. But if you're going to close your eyes, I invite you to do so now. And then just taking a moment to perhaps settle a little bit more deeply into the seat that you're sitting in, kind of softening into the cushion. Maybe feeling your back against the back of a chair or feeling your feet on the floor. Maybe feeling your sits bones as they're making contact. Maybe even feeling the slight pressure of your clothing at the bend of a knee or elsewhere on the body. So just tuning into these type of contact points as a way of letting you know that you are here. You are sitting here, sort of coming home to your own body. And perhaps also just taking a moment to check in with yourself and let go of whatever came before. You know, maybe there was activity or movement from one place to another, some kind of a transition. And likewise, letting go of what might come later. And then allowing yourself to further ground into the body and into this moment by turning your attention to the breath now. So just finding the breath and following along, following each inhalation and exhalation. So just staying with the rhythm of your own breath cycle. However it is in this moment. Maybe it's easy Maybe it's a bit labored. Maybe it's shallow or deep. Maybe the breath feels thin or full. Allowing it to be just as it is, not needing to change a single thing. And by now, the mind may have wandered off somewhere else, and that's okay. Just gently bringing it back. The moment you're aware that the mind has wandered is the moment that your presence has returned. And it does come and go. Our awareness comes and goes in this practice, in life. But just noticing whenever the mind wanders and then bringing it back, refocusing the attention on the breath. Ah, the breath has shifted a little bit. Perhaps that's something you notice when you return your attention to the breath. And perhaps just tuning into the gentle rise and fall of the breath. Staying with the breath from beginning to end, and then maybe noticing how each breath just naturally turns into the next breath. Each inhalation naturally turns into an exhalation. Maybe even feeling the gentle movement of the whole body as you're breathing. Perhaps there's a gentle sway or internal rocking motion. Just being with the breath, one breath at a time, one moment at a time. Nothing to do, nowhere to be but here, right now, knowing that you are here, knowing that you are breathing. And now, as you're ready, letting the breath recede into the background of your awareness. And the invitation is to allow your thoughts to become the object of your attention. So, as thoughts enter your field of awareness, just allowing them to float through your mind like clouds drifting by on a clear blue sky. Simply watching as they come and they go. Bringing an observing quality to this attention. So, not attaching to any thoughts that come or getting swept away by them. But perhaps noticing the quality of the thoughts. Are they swift moving or are they slowly drifting by? Are they light and fluffy, like the cumulus clouds, or dark and turbulent, like stormy clouds? Is your sky blue and clear or dark and ominous? But just observing each thought as it rises and falls, as it comes and goes. And as the thoughts enter your field of awareness, perhaps labeling the thought, pleasant or unpleasant, clear or obscure, worrisome or peaceful. Perhaps it's a thought of your to-do list, or a bit of agitation or boredom even, or maybe it's a joyful thought, a calm thought. Just labeling the thought and then releasing it. Now, perhaps for you, it's easier to imagine sitting on a riverbank and watching your thoughts flow downstream in front of you. Are the thoughts flowing gently like a babbling brook or rapidly like a frothing, raging river? But just simply observing the quality of your flowing stream of thoughts, churning or meandering, fast or slow, choppy or calm. So again, simply labeling them and then letting them go. Maybe there are recurring thoughts or self-critical thoughts or optimistic thoughts. Maybe there are old thoughts or new ones arising. But simply noticing the quality of your thoughts as objects in your awareness, letting them be just as they are in this moment, just for now. And now, as you're ready, narrowing the focus of your attention to one particular thought. Perhaps it's one that's been recurring and routinely creeps into your awareness, right? And you may even have tried to push it away. So, do you have such a thought? A nagging thought, a recurring thought, a repetitive thought? Perhaps calling it to mind now. And maybe there are several that make themselves known, but just settling on one such sticky thought and just noticing the quality of it, whether it's self-critical, worrisome, fatalistic even, or negative in some other way. But choosing a recurring thought that has shaped a belief that you have about yourself or your abilities, about a situation, about a relationship, but choosing one that will not cause you too much distress right now. And now taking a moment to acknowledge the difficulty of this particular thought that seems to recur. Perhaps also recognizing that you're not alone. As humans, we all have difficult thoughts. And now perhaps offering yourself some self-compassion, some self-kindness. It's okay. I am not my thoughts. They are not facts, and they rise and fall for all of us. The good ones, the bad ones, the happy ones, the sad ones, ones of fantasy or catastrophe. And now maybe taking a moment to explore how this thought is affecting your life. Is it serving you in some way or protecting you in some way? Or is it limiting you, holding you back, perhaps preventing you from realizing your dreams in some way? Just taking a moment to consider these questions. Exploring how this sticky or recurring thought is impacting your life right now. Maybe it's preventing you from trying a new hobby or looking for a new career path, or maybe it affects how you relate to others. And now taking a moment to consider how this thought might not be based on fact. Well, maybe it's based on emotion or old conditioned belief systems. And perhaps by holding this thought in your awareness and observing it with some equanimity, you may be able to see it in a more balanced way. By observing our thoughts, we can begin to see them more clearly. And maybe this can allow you to begin to dismantle it as untrue, as just a thought and not a fact. And now just beginning to let go of this practice, letting the mind settle, sitting quietly in your own experience, letting it be just as it is, and letting you be just as you are. And if you'd like, you can keep your eyes closed as I end with this poem by Langston Hughes, Dreams. Hold fast to dreams, for if dreams die, life is a broken-winged bird that cannot fly. Hold fast to dreams, for when dreams go, life is a barren field, frozen with snow. And perhaps deepening the breath a little, beginning to wiggle fingers and toes, and gently opening your eyes if they were closed. Perhaps inviting a little movement into the body, whatever that means for you. And I'd like to thank you all for your practice. And I'm going to leave you with a weekly invitation. And my invitation for this week is to think about a goal or a dream that you have that's on the back burner, and consider if there's a belief that you hold that's preventing you from moving forward and pursuing this particular dream or goal. And if it's possible, try to reframe the belief by asking yourself some different questions than you might usually ask, such as, what are the lessons learned, instead of why did this happen? Or how can I use my strengths to help me achieve my goal? Instead of asking, oh, why did I do that? And then, can you think of one thing that you can do this week that takes you one step closer to realizing that dream? So that's my invitation for the week. And then 2 quick announcements. Our spring Mindful Self-Compassion course begins tomorrow night from 6:30 to 9. And it's an 8-week course. And our spring mindfulness-based stress reduction course begins May 6th on Friday mornings from 9:30 till noon. And if you enjoy these weekly meditations and find them helpful, you may want to consider taking one of these courses and a deeper dive into all of this subject matter: mindfulness, self-compassion, and positive psychology. All right, well, thank you all for joining us today. Have a wonderful week. Take good care and I will see you soon.